if you had the choice.
I'm hearing that the draft is just moments away. So what are we looking forward to, Shiva, in game 2? More of the same, more straightforward envy stuff. Do you think that he's I've got the key, I've unlocked EG, now I know how to beat them?
I hope so that NP will just continue doing what they do, but I think we're going to see something different from EG, a bit more conventional draft as well. Their warm-up game is done. You know, this is the time that was the warm-up game. The rest of the games.
Yeah, I mean, Pity, you said it. They do start
Yeah.
slow on day one sometimes, and that's just how it is, I guess. But they always finish strongly.
Yeah, definitely, and that's in the end that's what matters.
Yeah.
So.
But will they go through the lower bracket? Because if so, they're supposed to be doing really crap during the
that's the dangerous thing here, Peter, isn't it? You can start slowly, and that's fine, and you can come back and you can start winning. But here, when the difference is 1 point or 3 points or 0 points,
that's true,
and only the top 2 go to the top half of the bracket, and you finish top 6 automatically, that's a massive advantage here.
It is a huge advantage, and I'm sure they are very well aware of that, and they also know how this works. So, I'm sure they won't focus on that, but it definitely is in the back of their heads. And losing potentially a game in kind of one of your easier matchups might be disappointing for them, but we've all been there before. Yeah. Can't win them all.
Yeah, well, we said when we came in, a lot of us talked about Team MP potentially being the weakest team in the group. So if they manage to pick up 3 points against EG, that would be a huge start for them in the right direction. We've also started with a PPD hero.
Yeah.
NA Classic. Offlane Abaddon.
Yeah, he's NA famous right now.
Yep. He got nerfed because of NA. Thank you.
And still picked.
Still picked. Same
still
with
picked.
Centaur too, yeah.
Yeah.
So Centaur's still in the pool.
Same bans for EG.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially some Zai Monkey King.
Huh.
Who knows? They're going to take the Dazzle away from 1437. I would expect, bold prediction here, but 1437 is going to play Witch Doctor.
Why?
I got a feeling about it.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
No inside info?
He plays Dazzler or Witch Doctor every game, so
okay.
One of the two.
Yeah, I thought that might have been where you were coming from.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it's going to go. They play very much the same. Like, he's still gonna do the Mana Boot Solar Crest thing, and he's gonna put Solar Crest on the carry, and he's gonna run around and heal people with the Voodoo Restoration, and they're gonna push his 5, and SVG and MSS are gonna be the playmakers, and Aui's gonna farm creeps.
It sounds so simple and straightforward. That's a recipe for success.
It's just straightforward dose.
It's not simple, but it is straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's what they did previous game, and it worked out.
Just make sure the cameraman follows MSS. He's like the genius that makes all the movements happen.
The man that's pulling the strings.
He's an impressive player.
What could cause you to pick up both of your supports in the first 2? And not any, like, they're not worried about a Centaur or something getting banned. They don't want that anymore. Why would you pick up your 2 supports first 2?
No, you just
doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I guess you just don't feel like there's a core that you really need to grab. Oftentimes the scary thing about picking your supports first 2 is you can almost get support counterpicked, which generally was like more common in the last patch by heroes like Enchantress and Chen, and that's mostly it. Like those 2 here, it's usually heroes that can't deal with the creep that can present huge problems. So before you would have a tri-lane up against an offlaner, and then all of a sudden Chen would show up with a creep, a satyr for something, and they couldn't kill the satyr, you all of a sudden lose your tri-lane against 2 heroes. So that was kind of the advantage of that. But those heroes are far less popular than they were last patch.
What do you make of the Leshrac? Obviously also an NA Classic. Rather, a Complexity Classic.
Yeah, I think 1437 will play it, so I was wrong.
Oh.
No Witch Doctor.
They'll do some sort of probably stun combo with Leshrac. From what I've seen out of them is, they could play Shadow Demon, they could play Bane, they could play Kunkka.
Shadow Demon is also a 1437 hero.
Yeah, so yeah, there's something there for sure. I don't think the Witch Doctor will come out.
Kunkka today, actually, have we?
Kunkka?
Yeah, saw some in the qualifiers.
So some in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I do think, I didn't mention him as the heroes that we're not going to see.
No, I mean, I would imagine we will see him at some point.
I think so.
Yeah, could be this game.
Yeah, might be. Very, very momentum-based hero, though. Abaddon, Leshrac, they're going to look to push towers, look to team fight, get stuff done.
Yeah, so what kind of heroes do they want to ban out that for EG that could prevent that? They already removed the Weaver and the OD now as well. They help out Envy a bit in mid, but should you
think you
really
wanna-
be worried about a Samil OD?
I mean, they could be worried about it based on what they want to pick.
Yeah.
Later, maybe they want to pick some melee hero mid that doesn't do well versus OD.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they want to pick some heavy lockdown. They're worried about, that Astral defensively saving people. I think that EG's most likely going to pick Universe's hero right now.
Centaur is still in if they want.
Centaur is still in. They could go Centaur. They could go Axe. Any hero that lanes well versus Abaddon is kind of what they want to do, I think.
What lanes well against Abaddon? I thought Abaddon was supposed to win all his lanes.
No, he doesn't win all of them. He definitely doesn't win versus Axe. He definitely doesn't win versus... I mean, Darkseer is not bad. He definitely doesn't win against, like, Timbersaw.
But you're saying, like, solo lanes.
Yeah, so that's the idea, is that you can have... Let's say NP goes aggro trialing, which they did last game. They went aggro
Yes.
trialing with Beastmaster, and then
Yes.
Owie just kind of soloed with Lifestealer against Centaur. If Universe was playing Faceless Void, or maybe someone that did better up against Lifestealer, then NP wouldn't be enabled to let their two supports leave that lane. Otherwise, Lifestealer would have a rough time. So when you pick a Darkseer, it's very unlikely that NP is going to be able to leave a solo. And if they do go aggro trialing and Abaddon is left against Darkseer, Darkseer is going to have a really nice time.
So win-win.
Yeah, it can be like you could lose the aggro trialing, but at least your Darkseer is going to be ahead of the Abaddon.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of balance there. Like that was a big issue of the early game last game, is that that aggro trialing didn't go perfectly for NP, but their intentions were to win all 3 lanes.
So we do see the Bane. Talked about that a little bit, Peter, before.
Yeah.
Set up stun.
Yeah, NP, man. I've practiced against them a lot, and I've watched them play it a lot, and I know all of their players very well. So.
Do you like the Bane then? I mean, you're saying it with a bit of a laugh, and you already saw it coming, but do you like their draft so far? There's quite a pause there, Paul.
Yeah, but it's an NP draft. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's their draft.
It's not necessarily
Okay.
Comfort draft.
I wouldn't draft it
Yeah.
if I was drafting.
Yeah.
But I'm not them, and
Yeah.
they know what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on
Fair
paper,
enough.
it doesn't look like.
It's different. We don't
the
see
most-
Bane. We hardly see Bane ever
Yeah,
True, yeah.
anymore.
yeah. Doesn't look like the most ideal draft, but presumably, if they've played a lot, then it is a comfort draft for them.
Yeah, it can for sure work. Their lanes are going to be really strong. They're going to be able to roam those 2 supports. It's just going to be interesting to see how EG and NP lane their cores. Because the mid's whatever. Like, mid's going to be a wash. Like, they're both going to be able to lane against each other. But right now we have the Juggernaut and the Darkseer, or Jug could be mid. And then we have Abaddon, and then whatever NP decides to pick. And then it's going to be where those supports move to try and kind of create the balance of who wins and loses those 2 side lanes.
So yes, as Peter said, Juggernaut picked up by EG. Just waiting for the 4th pick on MP now.
I think EG's much better set up this game, though.
Compared to previous.
Because Earth Spirit's going to be so much stronger in the early game thanks to Ion Shell. So they could even do like some sort of dual lanes. And then if NP does do some sort of aggro lane, they have an Earth Spirit plus a Dazzle plus most likely another melee hero, I would guess, for RTZ. And that's a very strong lane. Dazzle is kind of similar to Caudle in a way as a safe laner. So he can push out the lane, and then you just do pulls, and then your trialing gets ahead of their trialing.
Do you feel like EG is good on disable so far? Because they have Earth Spirit, which is great, because you can also, from long range, interrupt that Fiend's Grip. But other than that, Vacuum can interrupt, that's about it.
Definitely lacking. But oftentimes disables aren't really the best against an Abaddon, because he will just
remove them anyway.
Sure, but some interrupts would be nice. The silence, the Earth Spirit silence is very good too against Bane.
True. 2 tools.
Let's see. Oh, Alchemist is banned. I haven't seen. I've seen Sumail play a bit of Juggernaut, but not too recently. Let's see who has the last pick.
Oh, hello.
EG has the last pick. Meepo.
Wow.
So, Owie's gonna play Meepo. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I always kind of played around with the idea of playing Meepo. Even when we were playing and he was playing a support, he wanted to do like some support kind of jungle Meepo stuff, which is a cool pick. This is gonna be fun to see. I haven't seen him like play it in an official match, so this will definitely be interesting. I'm sure he's been practicing it like too much.
They want to get those 3 points on the board.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
That's giving Crit a little bit of a headache here, isn't it?
Yeah, what to do? You got one pick to prepare for Meepo. Do you continue with your own plan? Do you try?
They banned Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
You know, they're reacting quickly. Let's see. Like, what are Meepo? There's Sven. Sven's like the #1 Meepo counter.
Yep.
I don't know. What do people like against Meepo?
I mean, you got the supports, but that doesn't really count.
Those supports aren't great against Meepo.
No, but I mean, like, you know,
Earth
in
Spirit's
terms
okay.
of in terms of counters to Meepo, you normally go for the Winter Wyvern or something like
Yeah.
that, and it's too late to pick that up. So then you gotta have a core that does nice against Meepo,
Well, we'll see what EG comes up with.
or you can build a Battle Fury and Juggernaut.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how EG's playing because I feel like they're banning a lot of their heroes that they actually really like to play, like the Alchemist and the Naga and the Terrorblade and Shadow Fiend.
Stuff they like playing.
Yeah, they like playing those
Yep.
heroes.
Yeah.
So when they eliminate those, it's almost kind of limiting their own hero pool.
Right.
Right, we're on the last pick for NP though. I think they're pretty happy
Yeah.
with their draft.
Yeah, it looks definitely a very strong laning phase.
Yeah.
And if Meepo can come online, then they'll be fine. But EG has a lot of team fight.
And a Tinker
Whew.
for EG finishes off the draft. Wow.
Cool.
What a very cool draft indeed.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you still favouring MP after
Nah.
that? You think this is going to be tied up?
I don't think Aui's Meepo's ready.
Okay.
All right.
Only Peter is allowed to get away with that. Shiva,
The first game of the day is over, and there's
time for EG to wake up.
I think so, but I think it's like if that Meepo works out, it's gonna be an easy NP win.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We'll get more from you both at the end of the match as we will catch up with the end of our third series. We've also got a special report from Sir Action Selects coming from Group A as well. But first, let's get into our last game of series number 3. Can EG pull it back and grab themselves a point? Let's find out with Capitalist and Lyrical.
Thank you, Paul, and the slightly savage panel. Cap, how are you feeling about the game so far? We got ourselves a little Meepo man.
I don't know. I'm the Meepo definitely. When I saw it, I was like, oh no, because most of the counters out there, it's like the Magnus was banned away, so you can't amp up that Juggernaut. You didn't like Sven. Just doesn't really feel like a strong carry right now. Most of the time, we don't want to be running our mid Juggernaut. It seems like a lot of teams have strayed away from that. So there wasn't too many mids left that I was really confident about, and I didn't think about Tinker, but I am not fully confident that the Tinker is going to be able to bring what it takes. What EG got to do here is they have to first and foremost, Lyrical, secure a strong laning phase.
Yeah, that's something that just is imperative, and it was something that was a problem for EG last time around. I will say that I've seen a couple of Tinkers versus Meepo matchups when I've been doing the China region casting, and it can be quite strong if you build up that lead. You think about the Ags, spamming that out continuously, you get yourself into a really strong position. But likewise, Meepo can kind of counter the Tinker and being mobile around the map. You get boots of travel on him, and suddenly you can hunt that Tinker yourself.
Yeah, Meepo game still like this guy just becomes a wrecking ball at like 30-35 minutes and just closes out the game by 45 minutes typically. You hit this like 10-minute window where you're like super strong and you destroy everyone. And that is the fear right now for Evil Geniuses, is that they're going to cede too much map control early. Tinker won't be able to do enough in the game, and they're going to get hit by that wrecking ball, and they won't be ready for it. So that's why they have to secure a good laning phase. This time around, though, they did draft themselves a strong laning phase. They drafted themselves opportunities, multiple opportunities. Aggressive, they could do aggro dual lane with the Darkseer and the Earth Spirit. They could have done, looks like they're thinking about aggro tri-lane right now to try and put some pressure and maybe make some rotations across into the Meepo lane. There's a lot of things they could have done with this laning phase, but all of them were, I think, potential wins in just different areas.
This is really interesting, too. They're going to send Envy up to the top lane. It's going to be Meepo mid, and with an arrow, he could potentially just take out the Ion Shell creep over and over again. I don't know if it's going to work out super effectively, but it's something to think about. I'd say he's going to use it on the large creeps. What am I talking about? That'd be silly. But yeah, Aoi mid. He's going to be on the Meepo there, facing off against the Zai Sumail combo, and does have his buddy the Bane to help him out in lane for at least a little while.
This early rotation is kind of curious by Crit. I wonder, it looks like he's just planning on doing a stack pull right now of the hard camp. So just trying to be a little bit more experienced. Because I was like, what is he going to do here? Is he going to try and kill the Mirana before she picks up level 2? But that just wouldn't be able to happen. So it looks like just kind of a farm efficiency idea. Nice play by Zai to be well in place to deal with the Bane. You know Bane's going to end up mid. It's kind of like an Ogre.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those supports that's always going to end up mid in the first 2 minutes.
Well, in the meantime, Aoi hasn't been looking too bad on this guy. He can sort of poof for a little bit of CS here and there. And so far, 4-0 versus the 4-3 of the Tinker, although there is still a good amount of aggression as they're going in for Aoi. A lot of damage being dealt, but it doesn't look like they're able to find a kill as of yet. SVG also need to back away, and might be an early Shrine usage time.
Yeah, Meepo, you want to put pressure on a Meepo. You can never put too much pressure on Meepo, right? So I like the fact that they're starting off with this dual lane with the Dazzle hovering around, making sure the Bane doesn't control the lane too well for AUI, just be able to pick up free CS. And later on, we're going to see, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw like Crit make a Ion Shell TP play, where he receives the Ion Shell from the Darkseer and then TPs into mid, or onto the Shrine rather, to try and make some sort of go there. Just because this Meepo is your threat number 1, everything in your strategy has got to be focused in shutting him down. And it starts all with the laning phase and how the supports do.
Okay. I also saw there's the the matchup of the Bane versus the Dazzle. You had both of them really efficient at being able to trade hits because you've got heal turning into damage as well. And it's something that you don't always end up seeing, is the Bane actually being forced back by the Dazzle heal bombs consistently. And this is gonna start to feel a little bit worse and worse for the Meepo, I would imagine, as Zai is gonna try and run down SVG a little bit further. They keep on trading hits here. Needs to be a little bit careful with the roll in. Now SVG, they get the Nightmare onto 1, and now trying to find the setup for the kill, or splitter is not going to be enough. And now they have to back out because Arteezy is here as well. The damage is going to continue. There's an Aphotic Shield to make sure they don't run him down. MSS saving the day. And, I mean, that's for a little while that Arteezy isn't farming, so.
That was a close one for SVG because he almost received the double heal bomb. When he got rolled in by the Earth Spirit, that just would have blown him up. But he got to sleep off just in time. And then Crit had that nice little move where he stuns the Leshrac and then wakes up the Dazzle to ensure they don't give up first blood just yet.
No. And they want to keep chasing this lane around. You saw that Universe move down bottom. Envy is going to stay here as well for the moment. Doesn't quite get the hit there on that large creep. But they'll keep these musical lanes going whenever possible. As Universe is able to sneak away a couple more CS there from Envy.
I mean, I think NP is okay with whatever side lanes, kind of end up happening. They'll move around and such. But as long as they're keeping the supports out of the mid lane, as long as they're keeping Earth Spirit away from potential gank on AUI. In fact, they're going to get a kill on Tinker, looks like.
This is so much damage. The secondary route, he is falling low, and looks like they're going to be able to get the kill on him. Oh, Sumail, drop and roll for the kill. Nicely done. Man, that was so close to death with that laser, and, well, thankfully they end up being able to pick one up there, but it was the Universe that actually was credited with that kill.
Huh. Oh, you got the Ion Shell on him, yeah, so. But, I mean, well worth it for AUI, right? Because he gets the experience for the Tinker kill, and he manages to pick up the First Blood gold bounty as well. So it kind of speeds along your progression into those earlier stats, and that's the real danger, is that Evil Geniuses did not have a wealth of disables. And this is why when the Meepo pick came up, it was so strong. He mainly had just the Earth Spirit that he had to worry about, the stun silence. That's going to be the most potent thing they have. But the question is, if he can actually get the stats up, they may not have enough.
Oh, man, that was a really good play there by the Bane to make sure that MSS can get out. Still taking a lot of damage, and that heal bomb certainly would have killed. But MSS able to escape. Wasn't quite level 6 as of yet, and they're just going to back out again. I'm wondering, when is the point where we start to see the Meepo retreat back to the jungle and stick somebody else in lane? Is there a stage where you have to completely abandon the lane for Aoi, or do you think it's okay to just sort of bounce back and forth?
It kind of depends how much pressure you're feeling, but you are kind of like a Storm Spirit. Usually by level 5, you're going to go jungling. It can happen pretty much any time you have that second Meepo out. You feeling enough pressure in lane, you can start bouncing back, and you can see AUI is doing that now, just trying to play a a little bit of efficiency with shrines and such. And that's okay because it always leaves a lane open for a support to take over, and both these supports are naturally very experience greedy. Bane and Leshrac get a lot of value out of their later levels in 8 through 11, more so than other supports. So it's still like a very efficient play, and it's pretty much typical NP. I would say efficiency is one of the big things that NP has on their pro marker.
Yeah, and you're seeing the same kind of efficiency come out from EG as well as Darkseer is over in the jungle. And now anytime Meepo comes back in, he can spam the wave and head back towards the jungle if he wants afterwards. And Sumail, as far as the skill build that this Tinker has gone for, it might end up being a little bit of a testy one as well. But Mirana, in the meantime, has her level 6 up. Do you think we see any good rotations in with trying to find a kill Moonlight Shadow?
Yeah, it would be pretty wise to use that ultimate as early as possible. It can also just draw attention away. If you make some sort of aggressive maneuver with that Moonlight Shadow, maybe you force TP rotations. Again, those are TP rotations that can't be used against the Meepo.
Well, they go for the Nightmare. Thinking about testing this one, but yeah, Crit gets the silence off. So they won't be able to find that initiation on a Universe. And still the pressure will mount, but they can use those Ion Shells to try and clear those creeps as well.
EG are, I think, pretty happy. You know, I keep talking about this shutting down the Meepo and such, but I think overall they're very happy with the way the laning phase is going. They're up in CS on all 3 of their cores. You can't really include the Meepo versus Tinker matchup. That one's kind of a wash, but the side lanes are doing very well for themselves, and they don't need to rush things too badly. I'm curious to see what kind of build Arteezy goes for here with this Juggernaut against the Meepo, and whether or not he does go for a Battle Fury build and try to go a little bit more of the hard carry build, or if he tries to act as more of a space creator for the Tinker, who is in some ways going to be the antithesis to the late game Meepo.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of going to be a question, I'm sure, of how the early game goes, too. If they feel like they can get away with that, or if they need this Juggernaut to start coming online even earlier. In the meantime, you do see that there was some movement there towards the mid, trying to find the kill on the Tinker. Wasn't going to happen. The Dazzle's going to keep alive that Jug, although there is now going to be a smoke movement by NP as well as the Moonlight Shadow, and they're going to fully commit for this. And we'll have to see if Sumail has a Spidey senses tingling. Heading down to the bottom, he's playing it safe.
He backs up it. Oh.
Diving for it. There's the Nightmare. The Crush to follow. Are they going to be able to get into range? Yeah, they're not quite there in time. And now Crit's shown up. A lot of damage being dealt out. They take down the Leshrac. Going to surge forward Universe as well. Trying to pull in SVG. They use the Earthbind, keeping him in place for the moment. SVG still getting ran down. And Crit is actually going to dive all the way under tower for this one. And can just roll out again in a second. And there's nobody there to help out against this Earth Spirit.
The Ion Shell comes up big once again. He had Brain Sap up too, so if he could have actually gotten that off, it could have actually turned the whole entire thing, and maybe he kills the support instead of just dying. But both teams are going to shrine up here. NP, they just created or just left a lot of space for Arteezy. You could see him trying to take advantage of his triple range creep that he's got set up right now, aggressively taking down the creep wave and trying to get as much chip damage on that offlane tower as much as possible. I think it's a big part of safe lane carry's duties right now is chipping down that offlane tower because, as we talked about earlier, how it is hard to go for a full push against it.
Well, here's the setup, trying to find the kill on the Jug. With Zai here, this is never going to happen. And in fact, they might end up losing more for it than they bargained. The pullback, vacuum wall as well. They're controlling them up. MSS, his ulti's been popping. It looks like they are going to be able to bring down that Leshrac as well. And probably this Abaddon as well. Healing ward in the trees. He's microing to the best of his ability. They do manage to bring it down finally. And now Arteezy in a lot of trouble. But can they get it? No, he's able to juke away. They have the Grave as well to keep him alive. MSS's shield did not pop there to get the kill, and they lose a couple for it.
MSS was just shy of being able to get that kill. The Brain Sap from the Bane brought Arteezy so low, and if they'd actually killed the Jug, then that all would have been worth it, because Meepo's just, farming away in various parts of the jungle while that's all happening. So if they can just make blow for blow, trade for trade, then it's into the favor of NP most of the time. But that also said, right, Sumail is also getting his own bits of free farm. And if you're looking from the NP perspective, you would love to be able to get another Moonlight Shadow smoke gank into the jungle and find that Tinker. Slow down that Boots of Travel a little bit more.
And for EG, I mean, thinking more and more about the context, the greater context of how this group stage works is Bane is walking
Oh my
in. Bane!
God,
Oh my
SVG.
god, he got him! Oh no!
Who needs Moonlight Shadow and Smoke when you get an Invis rune?
Oh.
And Sumail's sitting at 100 HP.
God, Sumail's got to be so upset after that. That's so frustrating.
I'm sure SVG is going to be so happy because they're now also getting a lot of chip damage on that mid tower.
And they have been able to catch out Eternal Envy. He has dropped so low with that one. Ion Shell onto crit. Quite potent indeed.
Yeah, it's like the Ion Shell or Spirit combination. It's actually one of the hardest 3-4 duos to deal with in the game, I think. It's so much laning pressure, and there's so much ganking power when people are using this Ion Shell TP to move the Earth Spirit around the map, because he just kind of like keeps you from being able to escape for so long that the Ion Shell is oftentimes doing a majority of the damage.
Yeah. Again, just to go back to what I was talking about with the group stages as well, thinking about it was EG like have to win this game. It's a very tough group as it is, and having already gone down 1, if they lose 0-2 to NP and they get a 3-point advantage, like they need to pull something out of this one because there's so many other good teams in this group if they want to move in the upper bracket. But in the meantime, there's another smoke movement in, and that fatal Earth Spirit and Ion Shell combo is ready to go, but nobody is there to take the gank as NP is all moved out across the map.
I'll tell you right now, Lyrical, all the other teams in Group B, they're watching this game and they're cheering the hell out of EG. They're like, let's go, EG, make this a tie, please, because they do not want any other team. Like, NP would be in such a great position because you presume not many teams are going to be able to 2-0 EG, so if they can be the ones to do it, they'll be a great position for their group. And so many others will be challenged to be able to take that point system against them. So, EG kind of moving around the map, the rotation of Crit and Universe covering the push by RTZ, but NP very true to their style. They oftentimes stay pretty grouped up and usually around that mid lane area, not separating too much. It's why it was such a hard Slark game last time. So it is preventing any opportunities to be found by Crit right now.
Well, Crit is now showing up in mid, and they are going to eventually get this tower kill that may just be denied, though. So it looks like EG is in position to make that happen. And, well, that's still an objective down, and that's both of the tier 1s taken in top and mid. For NP, do you feel like there's any need to really start to like try and push the tempo at all and make stuff happen, or you just keep on farming up on Meepo, happy with that?
I think the tempo is simply getting that mid tower down. I think that's the first foremost objective that you need to do is make sure that Tinker doesn't have that very far forward objective to be able to TP into.
Oh, Fiend's Grip from far away. SVG has found him. RTZ is going to be able to get the spin away now, and the turn, the Earth Spike, it's going to be enough to get that kill onto Crit. Split Earth coming in handy, and now NP ready to push again. The tier 1 bottom could potentially be next on the docket if they wanted to, but I guess they can also just deny the tower and move out across the jungle.
NP is one of the better teams at defending their safe lane tower. A lot of other teams would have just given that up and gone for more aggressive maneuvers, you know, try and take control of mid and the enemy jungle by pressuring those 2 other lanes. But NP they seem to have a knack for 5-manning together really well. And that was a very beautifully executed gank. Now, it doesn't actually translate into objective, but they do at least prevent that bounty from going to EG and slow down that Battle Fury a bit. And that is what RTZ is looking to buy as his next item, as he's got it in his quick buy.
Okay. There is another big smoke movement that's coming out now. Envy doesn't have a ton of HP right now, but could end up joining them if they wanted to, although it looks like the call is to go in for Roshan. So how are you going to pick that up? A little bit trepidatious about it since Crit is in the area.
Yeah, EG, they know that this is about the time that Meepo's going to be looking to take Roshan. Meepo can usually solo it around now, so...
Oh, SVG, Self-Nightmare, still taking damage. Brain Sap to keep him alive. They're coming in with MSS as well. They're able to get that Split Earth, is connecting onto Jug and the pullback, so they're able to bait out a little bit of aggression there from EG, and he's still keeping their Bane alive.
MSS is going to be, it's kind of one of those heroes that just stands in front of a push and stops it just by his presence. You know, you can't really go on that. It's not like Jugs feels comfortable using his Omni Slash around into Baden. So that push is going to be kind of non-existent. EG are just going to back themselves away, try and be farm efficient. I think these two teams are both kind of efficient in the way that they farm, but in very stark differences. Evil Geniuses usually try and make the most out of this, like, this 15 to 25 minute window by splitting apart and farming various areas, while NP, they focus a lot more on laning phase efficiency and trying to make sure that all their supports get the core amount of net worth they truly need by 10, 12 minutes. And then after that, they start grouping up a little bit more and saying, hey, we got the lead that we wanted in the laning phase. Now let's just make sure we don't lose it by staying grouped up.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that plays more into the style of Meepo as well, is trying to just maintain that lead, not give anything away. He ended up going kind of an interesting build here as well. The Meepo has 2 Wraith Bands as well as a Dragon Lance and the Blink Dagger now, which should allow him to scout out and take down Sumail more often than not. Although we have seen that they've tended to keep one of the supports with Sumail on this Tinker every time he's rotated to the lane. Up in the top, Zai was right next to him. Now he had Crit next to him to make sure that they didn't initiate, and they've been doing a good job of covering their mid player.
Yeah, I think AUI knows that he does have to start putting pressure on the Tinker. He has to pick up that early Blink Dagger. You can't go the fully stat-efficient build that you used to on Meepo. First of all, because Dragonlance got nerfed a little bit, but also primarily because you're opposing a Tinker, and you need to try and actually use the map control that NP have. Nice pick off on Zai, though.
Yeah, the classic combo. Nightmare into an arrow. Easy peasy mode.
You just hate life as a support, You just push out. You're just trying to get a ward down or something. You're like, oh, I got slept. I'm dead now.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. Hands off the keyboard.
This is what happens in my life.
Yeah.
Well, and also you take a look at these two players here that were in the mid role by the end of it, looking quite good for experience per minute in GPM. That's how it goes if you're a Meepo player. But how have you felt about his performance so far, considering this is one of his first ones that we've seen on the pro game stage?
Not really much to say. So far, I think his Meepo play has just been adequate. It's once you get the Blink Dagger and you start seeing, it's not just about the technical performance, though that is a significant part of it, but it's also about picking and choosing where you go. And sometimes we're going to have traps set up by EG. They're going to bait out something and see if the Meepo goes on it. But he's got his first big kill here.
Yeah, this is a nice one to pick up, although maybe going to be able to bait it out. They get the Grave off in time, and now Aui's in a little bit of trouble. Can they bring down Sumail, though, in time? They aren't going to be able to get the kill. He's barely alive. You talked about those traps, and not sure if it was one, but it ended up working out for EG.
Oh, man. EG, how do they just keep getting away with this? It's like highway robbery every single time. I watch these heroes walk away with just 100 HP. And, it's oftentimes just small little things you do, tread switching, or an ally makes just like the right kind of heal play or something like that. But I was just, watching Sumail walk away from another gank like that. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, this is fine for EG. And then I watched Sumail just start dropping like a rock in HP. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, that's not so good. But
well, and this is also Arteezy getting his Battle Fury now at a timing before the tier 1 tower goes down in the bottom lane. So granted, it's not like, the most spectacular Battle Fury time we've ever had in our lives, but it's going to allow them, the fact that not too many objectives have been taken, to really keep these lanes pressured out. And I feel like EG are in a very comfortable spot against this Meepo.
Yeah, it's normally the Juggernaut would be a bit scared. Like, his job would usually be to split push and then rely on Blade Fury to TP out if any ganks come his way. He can't do that against a Bane, but that's okay, because Sumail's actually going to be the one adopting the, I'm going to split push out all the lanes and keep all this aggression, and then Arteezy can focus on just jungling. Might get caught here, though.
Yeah, they're not quite within range to control him as of yet, trying to get his way away, and now he's turning to fight. There's the Nightmare. But yeah, with Universe coming in, they're not going to be able to actually take this fight, I don't imagine, as SVG uses the Brain Sap to get a little bit more HP and back out.
Oh, AUI trying to catch Crit there as he approached the bottom lane. That does reveal that there's a laning ward. Looks like it's going to fade out anyway.
Oh,
He's
my
still
God.
going to get caught?
This might be a problem. Needs to get his way away. Silent stun, taking a ton of damage as well, and it does look like Aui barely able to escape from that one.
No,
but the
it's gonna take
Magnetize.
out?
Oh, my God, they got him. Oh, that was really close.
Okay, well, I think this Meepo game is very rapidly turning into a disaster. The first failed blink rotation in a bottom lane where they had that team fight, EG was around and they were able to respond to the jump on crit. Now this time around, again, he tries to kind of jump crit and there's a response by EG. Like, you can't afford those kind of mistakes for a Meepo game against late game heroes, right? If we didn't have a late game presence by EG in their last pick Tinker, this wouldn't be too big of a deal, but you have to understand is the Meepo's kind of like an alchemist, right? He's getting all this extra gold and extra experience, and these deaths hurt a lot more than most other carries would. You feed a lot back into the EG crew when you die like that.
Well, this is at least a little something. Finding a pick off here onto crit. They need whatever kills they can get at this point because they're now behind, 5 to 10, but 4 to 10, it's still a rough one to go. And Zaya's also picked up this Medallion of Courage for himself, so if they do win a couple more engagements, they could possibly try and get something like Roche. But this feels like a really salvageable thing now that you have Aoi going in to get Roshan for themselves with that pick off on crit.
EG are still going to try and contest, but it's going to be a rough one.
Oh, going in. They want to get it. They're able to get the Nightmare off onto Arteezy, but the wall vacuum breaking Dota for a second. MSS starting to fall, but he gets the ulti off. They're able to take down Roche, and Aoi does pick it up, but immediately going to be popped. Omni Slash was used. The Battle Fury finally coming into play, and now the arrow connecting as well onto Arteezy. They need to burst him down in this time period, but there's the Grave trying to TP away, and they are going to be able to break that TP with the Nightmare. A couple more right clicks. They clean it up. Still, not like a definitive great win for NP, but it's something.
Yeah, Universe felt like he was, I think, a little bit pressured on timing of the Roshan. I think he was thinking, oh, Roshan's just about to die. If he just placed that wall a little bit deeper in and NP weren't able to retreat further into the pit like they did, maybe that could have been a huge win for EG and kind of just shut down NP entirely. But as a result, NP controlled that Roshan play really well. They just backed out of the wall, finish off Roshan. You give that Aegis to the Meepo, he tanks the Omni Slash, and the whole entire fight is reset in your favor. So they reacted really well to that play by EG, and they do have themselves, again, you said it wasn't like an amazing team fight for them, but it was okay.
And now bottom, another pick off there. 1437 going to go down. Crit is a little bit deep and doesn't have another rolling boulder for 10 seconds, although he does have a stun to throw out, so they won't be able to chase him down at all. But that blink on the Earth Spirit being quite effective in this game. We also saw, if I'm not mistaken, the Sheep Stick being worked on by the Meepo. He's still a little ways away, but that's another one of those power spike items that could allow him to take further advantage of killing off the Tinker. Yeah,
for sure. It's just a question of whether or not you can find Sumail, right? And I don't feel like we've seen NP outmaneuvering Evil Geniuses enough to get those opportunities already. It's not like we've seen any plays where it's like, oh, if he just had that Scythe of Ice, what a change that would have been, catching that big core. But it will allow him faster, easier opportunities to kill the Tinker, and also, maybe more notably, an opportunity to be able to immediately jump Juggernaut and break him down. It's another thing that Juggernaut kind of has to fear. Not just the Fiend's Grip that can catch him out of the Blade Fury if he tries to make that play and TP out, but now even preemptively could be Scythe of Ice stuff. So he's going to have to play a lot more defensively, and it's pretty much the Sumail game at this point. It's kind of like the Cup game. You're just like, it's the Tinker. There's 3 lanes, there's 3 cups. The Tinker's in one of these lanes, and you just gotta try and find him. Once you do finally kill him, then you can control the map and push out from there. And then you have to play the shell game eventually again.
I always lose that game. I'm not very good at it.
Well, that's why you should never play that game.
Exactly.
That's usually a scam.
It's got Sumail over here who's going to end up TPing away. There was a smoke gank that was going down towards bottom, hoping to catch him, but didn't end up happening. Instead,
wrong cup?
Yeah, wrong cup. There you go. There is still, a possibility here with the Moonlight Shadow. Juggernaut is in the mid lane. It's a little bit tough to get that initiation off, though, when you know the rest of the supports are just going to be right there with them. I do like the idea that MSS is going for kind of an insurance measure, going for the Radiance next. At least that's what he had queued up. If he did end up getting into that amount of gold, do you think that that's sort of a fallback measure for them where they can have this third core that's quite strong?
Yeah, in some ways. The Abaddon was picked up by the NA region a lot. Ike's Mike in particular, I think, was one of the earlier adopters of going this sustain build on Abaddon. Goes the Mech and Guardian Greaves and such, and later on would pick up the Radiance, and then we saw as the patch progressed, we saw a lot more aggressive abads, you know, Helma Dom and Radiance. So I think this is just a natural progression for him as he's found farm, but not something you can rely on.
Meepo caught out again. They were able to get a nice jump in there from Crit. They do get the vacuum back to pull in for the kill, and well, now SVG in a hell of a lot of trouble himself, trying to get away from this one. There is a Nightmare of stun out as well, but it's not going to be enough to get him away. And that's 2 dead again for NP, and Meepo gone for 60. Oh.
That is so much time for Evil Geniuses to be able to take objectives. Tinker's going to be able to get all of these lanes pushed in to tier 2 areas, and the rest of his team is just going to be super farm efficient or take objectives, maybe even both. They could just do so much with this long death timer of the Meepo, and it's one of the inherent dangers of picking this hero. So Evil Geniuses, they're far ahead, and they're going to get farther ahead off of that pick. Like a couple more pickoffs like that, and I'm not sure if NP is going to be able to do too much. Nice arrow, though.
Yeah.
Not much is going to happen, though.
It holds off the push for a second. Value. It's something going right, which feels good. I mean, you gotta hang your hat somewhere.
It's a moral victory of some sorts.
Oh. I mean, the other thing about that long death timer for Meepo is it's more time that he's not farming as well, which is you got to keep that pressure up. We do have Lesh, who's going into a hood, and that's also the full pipe recipe, so that's going to be completed. Another thing to help mitigate that incoming damage from the Tinker, but he does also have an Aghanims now, which means, God, the refracting laser is just going to be a nightmare to deal with for MP.
Yeah, what you really wanted to do was, as the Meepo, pick up the Blink Dagger, get a couple kills on this Tinker, shut out the game enough that you were able to go high ground before that Aghanims Ether Lens combination was up. But that timing has been missed. We're going to go to plan B Lyrical, and NP are going to have to play a lot off of initiation. Now, they could still win the game, right? They're going to have to deal with, you know, probably a really farmed Tinker and a really farmed Juggernaut, but they can still win the game purely off of initiation and Meepo play. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of problems, but they do have the opportunity to do that. So they just gotta find some way to recovery and just get a little bit of tempo back in their favor. I'm not sure how that is going to happen. I'm not sure. Do they have any smokes? EG's got one. NP doesn't. They probably want to finish up this Radiance first.
You see that stat, 2,800 gold spent on supporting items for Zai. Dazzle has not been buying a whole heck of a lot for himself. But another movement forward. They've been able to find the Meepo yet again. Omni Slash committed immediately, and Owie is going to go down. Owie indeed. Oh, they get hurt.
Yeah, that was not nice. EG.
And you okay?
Oh, damn it, Lyrical.
6-14. Pressure's going to come in now.
You need to take off that suit and put on the Hawaiian floral.
I know.
Shirt back on.
You have to have your moments. Provide some levity to the game. EG 7,500 net worth ahead, and they do have the Relic at least now on MSS.
Yep, they do. It's just the problem is it's not like this Radiance. It's like a secondary core, but he doesn't like transform the game oftentimes, and it won't transform this game, right? It's not like Tinker really cares too much, and most he's gonna feel is like, oh, it's kind of annoying. I can't blink sometimes with this hero's on me, but for the most part, it's just gonna be Tinker bouncing in and out, and NP. I mean, there's another situation, right? SVG,
yeah.
Right place, right time, just like barely wrong in his positioning, that he misses out on a potential kill on the Tinker. And this is the frustrating part dealing with Tinkers, is that you have to make those kind of plays, but what's going to end up feeling like is it's that if you don't connect, if you're just wrong sometimes, you're just a little unlucky, you're going to feel like you're wasting so much time.
Yeah, and then things like this happen where MSS gets caught out for a second. They'll be able to body block him, and, well, Meepo's going to actually jump in, try and bring him down. There's a lot of damage being dealt out, but he's about to evaporate as well. Arteezy and that laser get shot out. Another vacuum into two of them. They're able to take down, at the very least, the Darkseer and the Jug. So there is something going back there, but it all started off again with Meepo going down early.
Yeah, if they just could have gotten MSS a little bit more HP, maybe he could have survived long enough to really get some Radiance damage in and burn out some of those. Oh, he doesn't even have the Radiance yet. Man, I was so sure that he would have had it by now, but it's still just sitting a recipe away. So
yeah,
this is rough. They do have at least the Eternal Envy is going to try and turn himself into more of a right-click core. We're seeing a lot of Maranas do this right now.
He has a rapier queued up.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Envy.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, Envy, I think, the beauty that comes from the artist that is Eternal Envy, he has this, I wouldn't even say it's that unique, but he really commits to this idea that when you're behind, right, there's that quote, right, where everything's messed up, you got to shake things up, or, you know, whatever the exact quote is from Eternal Envy. But he does have this idea. It's like, when you're in a losing side of Dota, you need to start doing things that are really dramatic. In order to upset the current odds. If you just play normal Dota, you're probably going to lose. So that is where a lot of the beautiful high-level plays come out from Eternal Maiden. That's also where a lot of the throws come in. Is he feels like he's in a losing situation and needs to change things. That said, it's not quite that situation just yet.
No, definitely. I mean, I like the honestly. I love the idea of it. It sounds really cool. He's going to end up jumping away from Arteezy here. Has he found him? But no way to break that, obviously. So we'll be able to escape. That is the Radiance done as well for Abaddon. I guess is it sort of a – do you think that he would go for a Rapier? Like, let's just say hypothetically that quick buy isn't crazy. Does that change the complexion of the game at all, that level of damage physically? Yeah,
absolutely. It gives them a win condition that was back around that 35-40 minute timing that we were talking about, close out the game by 45 minutes. But I do think it's okay if they just want to.
This would be a good way to get towards it. Now they've caught him out. Tail bringing him low. They are going to get it, but the vacuum wall now down on absolutely everybody. There's no follow-up damage, though. They're not there. And now Crit trying to roll away. It's going to be able to make the escape. Reapplying Magnetize. They're trying to chase these guys down. Arteezy going in for the kill. They'll bring down Owie. Now 14-37. Also in trouble. Sumail is going to start going off. Rocket, lasers, every damn thing thrown at him. And 9-20 continuing it.
And P, they finally make the right Moonlight Shadow rotation and catch the Tinker, but it just kind of spoils against them. Crit did such a good job delaying their retreat long enough for Tinker with the buyback to come in and lay out the damage necessary to get multiple kills. Now they've got Roshan available to them with this Aegis. They can probably look to try and take, maybe not even a full lane of racks, but if you can at least take the tier 3 and open up shrines, that would be the step forward for EG in closing out this game.
Well, Aegis certainly don't hurt, and Arteezy now ready to go up and assault high ground, or at least, at the very least, try and shut down the vision that we have on the rest of NP's side. So, Battle Fury as well as the Manta style done. There's like a lot of answers that NP have individually. Where do you see, like, with Abaddon next, he's got this the Radiance. Do you think it's worth to go back for like an Aghanims at this point potentially, or
for the Abaddon?
Yeah.
I think he's got a Blink Dagger queued up right now. I think that's the best thing for him. So when he does get caught in some sort of disable area, he just pops the ultimate, waits 3 seconds, and is able to blink out. That's the beauty of having a Blink Dagger and a Abaddon, is that you can almost always rely on being able to blink out during your ult. I'm not sure if the Ags is really going to change too much for them. It does feel like there's just enough direct damage from EG. You can't mitigate that, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to lay into a meepo, they're going to do it, and you're not going to be able to stop it. So I think NP, their win condition is less about stopping that damage by having sustain, and more about being able to find the initiation. It's not about the items that they can pick up. It's more about being able to find the opportunities to start the fight off on a front foot, keeping Tinker down and or finding a really good support kill or something like that.
Well, they have gone into the damage talent for Envy as well. They're trying to find whatever answers they can to just get more damage out on the field, because it does feel like they can sometimes blow up one hero, but as soon as that initial combo comes out of that heavy magical damage, there's not a whole lot left over afterwards. But now they kind of have answers too. If the Jug goes into spin, you can maybe bring him down through all the right clicks that they've got, as well as just the DOT. Still unlikely to try and pick off the Jug since he's still got that Aegis.
Oh my god, he actually did it. I was going to say, I was like, here's what I think Envy's going to do.
Okay.
He's going to buy the Demon Edge, and then he's going to hold on to the extra gold. And if some sort of scenario comes in, like EG's pushing into you and you don't have the gold for Divine, he'll buy out Mjolnir and, just call it that. He doesn't do that. He's just like, all right, I have enough gold for the big part of the Rapier. I'm going to go ahead and buy my Sacred Relic. Not even disguise the fact that he's got this queued up.
Yeah. I think that it's sort of one of those things where it's like you know that this is going to have to happen for you if you want to win, or at least that's what he expects is going to happen. I kind of agree with him at this point, although we do have a little bit of a fight happening. Sumail is over in the jungle. Aoi is waiting, seeing if they could find somebody, but he is going to end up just trying to poof out. Now it looks like 1437 is going to be the one to fall. Yeah.
You know, this is even worse than the cup game, right? Because this time they chose the right cup. They went to the lane, they set up the trap where the Tinker went. But then it was like after the cup, you found a coin. And then the guy's like, okay, now I'm going to flip this coin. And in order to win, you have to get tails. And the problem was they went down, right? They went the bottom half of the jungle area thinking Tinker would TP in and blink downwards, but he blinked up.
Yeah.
So they didn't even get that opportunity.
Oh, it hurts. And now they're assaulting high ground as well. SVG there, they're going to be maybe even forced into using the Shrine. MSS can burn through this a little bit with the Radiance, but it's not easy by any means. Arteezy's rooted, but doesn't really care. They pop the ulti as well for MSS with the Shrine going. Oh my god, and now the rocket spam is going to come out from Tinker. They get an arrow, which is nice. Some right clicks going down onto Arteezy, but they just don't have nearly enough damage. And with the healing ward back there as well, they just can't burst through him at all. Another laser refraction. Might be able to go for some type of a Fiend's Grip play here. Possibly the splitter. Not going to be enough. They take down the tier 3. And honestly, Arteezy doesn't even look like he wants to leave. They are just so dominant at this point. NP do not have the answer.
Yeah, there's no reason to leave. He's got the Aegis. He's going to have another healing ward up in 15 seconds, too.
Another creep wave is going to come in a bit. You do have another ABBA ulti, and they're able to keep them from fully assaulting high ground. And now you have a sheep stick done on Tinker, too. My god, they are so farmed.
Yeah, AUI's backed off of his push at top lane. I'm not sure. I think he kind of needed to keep that pressure there because EG is not leaving.
No. Oh, good blink away. Universe. Vacuum wall completely off the mark, even with the added radius, and they've hexed him up for the moment as well. Trying to bring him down. Arrow was not there to connect, and Arteezy starting to drop low. He does get great, but they still have the Fiend's Grip going. Right click's coming through. If they could kill him off here, it would be fabulous for him. It is just the Aegis, though, and Sumail still large and in charge in the background. SVG looking to go for a Nightmare is going to be able to connect it, and, well, that's actually going to be the Dazzle out of the fight for the moment, but they don't have enough damage to bring down Arteezy at this point. So it kind of doesn't even end up mattering. Maybe with the Split Earth and all the spam. Crits there as well. A really good stun. There's the Vacuum onto 3 of them. There's an Omni Slash out there as well. Envy is going to drop. And it looks like Arteezy will be able to escape as well.
They just can't get the healing ward in the background. They just can't get to it. That's the problem. Arteezy keeps pushing forward and forcing his ward backwards, and NP can't get that sustain item out of the way.
And now ABBA finally going to drop. No more ulti left for him. And EG will take what they came for. Both sets of barracks down. You have an E-Blade on Meepo, so maybe you have a chance there with some like huge burst, but it feels unlikely as EG are going to continue this rampage through the base.
And Tinker's just going to keep backing them up. More March of the Machines, more rocket spams as Arteezy hits tier 3s. Another healing ward coming up in 8 seconds.
Now there's a Nightmare. Split Earth as well. There's ways that this could work for them. The root is onto 3. Reapplying it there onto Arteezy as the tower is going to start to drop, but they drop another healing ward, and there is still no answer for that. Another Vacuum into the stone. It's going to do a lot of damage here. Lesh needs to back out. We'll be able to escape for the moment, and actually they've hexed up the Meepo who went forward. Isn't going to be able to use any of those items. Sumail, great reactions, and almost able to even kill off Meepo there. Envy is going to drop. Oh my god, and Crit ended up killing off the Meepo as well. Yeah, yep, this is tough. This is a really hard one. Arrow connects onto Earth Spirit. He is going to fall. No, they get another Grave off. Dazzle, he's been in the right place, right time, every time. EG taking no prisoners, but taking the base.
Arteezy, even just with the extra bit there, blinks forward, recovers the gem for them. So they lost one support but didn't lose the gem, and now they're actually just going to try and close out the game, it looks like.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to be into Rapier territory even because he had to buy back in that fight. So
oh, the arrow.
Oh, wait, no, it's there. It's there. It's actually, he does have it. It's on the courier. They're trying to bring it back to him. This might be an opportunity here. It's going to be able to have a huge increase in the damage. The right click's coming through. He takes down one. Can he find more? They're leaping forward, trying to bring down Arteezy. They have the Glimmer Cape there to keep him alive. This might be enough if they can contain him just long enough. They're chasing. There's the Manta Dodge trying to escape. The right click's coming. It's going to kill off Universe. Oh. Envy did it. Oh, baby.
Envy, show him who's boss, baby. Oh, Divine Rapier at just the perfect time. And it could be better, right? He hits him with the arrow and the Divine Rapier comes in right as they have this opportunity to do a bunch of right-click damage. All these other times, this Divine Rapier, like, oftentimes this is going to look really lackluster because there's going to be this laser bouncing around. He's going to be blind half the time and won't be able to shoot anything. But that one moment where he hits the arrow on the Tinker, it does give NP a window of hope.
Tinker is dead for 40 seconds here, and they are pushing down mid. I don't know what exactly they're going to be able to do, but they certainly feel the need to do something. Yeah, look at this timing he gets delivered. Oh, as the BKB is completed, too. So, like, you think about if Envy gets into a couple more levels, he's level 23 right now. That 100 attack speed leap thing, we might see some magic here, as it looks like they're getting ready to assault high ground as we come back into the game.
This could be good. If they take this tier 3, they can't possibly take Raxus. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's a good idea. But
well, he does a lot of damage.
I think they should take the Roshan Shrine away.
Okay.
Take the Roshan Shrine away. Start setting up for Roshan, because that is so big. If they can get Aegis and Divine on Envy, make sure he doesn't just get popped at any point in time by, you know, a Juggernaut, Blinken, Abyssal Blade, or a Tinker. Like, they have to ensure a backup plan for Envy. So they couldn't quite finish off the Shrine. They didn't feel comfortable about that. The death timers were just a little bit too fast on the side of EG, so they couldn't take that little bit of objective control over that, but they can still set up for Roshan and try and claim that Aegis and Cheese.
Well, this has certainly turned into something I don't think many people were expecting, and Abaddon does go back for that Ag Scepter. So this is now a moment where you have another saving mechanism for Mirana outside of her normal kit, and they're going in to contest Roshan. Will they get there in time, though, is the big question. It's dropping very low. 1437, he gets the split earth. Oh. Arrow almost connects. Oh, the Blade Fairy, but Envy jumps in. Can he bring him down in time? The Abyssal Blade controlling him for the moment, but the right clicks. Ami slashes there. Envy is dropping low, but he is going to be able to get the Aegis. Arteezy got the Aegis instead, takes down Envy. Rapier on the ground, and it looks like actually it's going to be Leshrak who picks it up. The big body right clicks coming in from 1437. He's never had so much net worth in his life, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, Crit is there. They stun onto Bane, trying to bring them all down. Abaddon, he will have his ulti back up in 10 seconds, but it doesn't look like it's going to be soon enough, as they'll be able to bring him down as well. Oh, it was a dream for a moment.
Lyrical, I so badly wanted to see this game stretch out longer with the Envy holding that Divine Rapier, but I don't know how he did it, but Arteezy managed to grab that Aegis before Envy could. I'm not sure if he did it, like, while he was still Omni-slashing onto Envy, or if he just dropped down just before Envy was able to pick it up. I couldn't quite see exactly what happened, but as soon as that Aegis was picked up by the Juggernaut instead of Envy, you knew it was over.
I mean, we still had to me at least, I feel like there was a moral victory there. The kills off the back of the Rapier purchase, that was a highlight moment for MP, I'm sure. Maybe not. Maybe the winning the first game is more impressive.
I mean, I think as a whole, though, as a team, they got to look at this and be like, okay, we're happy with a 1-1 against Evil Geniuses.
Yeah.
We showed that we do have a shot here. We're not the weakest team in our group, potentially. We're going to show that we can actually do something here at DAC.
I'm really excited to see what else ends up happening. I believe that in just a second, we're going to be throwing it back over to the panel. Paul and the gang, what do you guys think about that one?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, a good 1 point, I think we could say, as far as Team MP are concerned. And Evil Geniuses will look at that as a 2 points loss potentially, but at least they have pulled it back, Peter. You said they started slow. They started slow. That was much better against what could have been a very slippery draft from MP.
Yeah, it looked like NP really went in on kind of winning that laning phase very early, and it kind of worked, but it didn't win to the effect that they did win in the first game, and so that advantage never really came online for them.
Yeah, and Shiva, great display by EG. You said they would wake up in game 2, and they did.
They did. I also think that maybe the draft, maybe indeed NP wasn't ready for bringing out the AY Meepo. He did do okay-ish. He had a lot of net worth, but normally you want to pull ahead a little bit more if you are a Meepo in this case. But overall,
The casters were talking about the Meepo ganks with the Blink Dagger, and this was his very first one that he went for on an Earth Spirit. Yeah, and he died. They got double killed, and they didn't get any kills. So
yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle there, but overall, I mean this was also just EG playing proper, having a bit more of a solid draft maybe compared to previous game as well, and just overall have woken up. Seem to be ready for the day now. I don't know. It was so sad to see Envy with the rapier, making it, having that hair of hope, and then losing it all again.
That's
It
just
was
Jackie
Almost,
Miller.
that is true. You almost had that Aegis in his hands, but unfortunately, it was not meant to be this game. I do think that this is still a big result in terms of score.
Yeah,
Neither
for
team
MP.
getting a 3-point for both teams.
Do you think for both, or really honestly? Because when you looked at the group, did you not think EG will look at this as a game they should win, as a series they should win?
I normally look at groups as like how many games are you quote unquote allowed to lose? How many series are you allowed to lose? There's 2 points to this. They denied the 3 points to EG, and that could have massive effects on the scores overall. And at the same point, they get a point where previously perhaps they weren't expecting to get.
Yeah, so I definitely think this is a win for Team MP, really, Peter, isn't it? The fact that they picked up a point.
I mean, for sure. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know. It depends on what your expectations are for yourself. EG, they want to be in the winner bracket, but I can guarantee you, NP wants to be in the winner bracket too. So not coming in and getting a 2-0 is, at least you got 1 point.
Yeah. I mean, if there's disappointment for MP, it's on the fact that they won the first game, and they've got a chance through what they might have felt like a proper MP draft to win 2-0.
Once we start getting into the end of day 2 and day 3, we're really going to see these 1 point, these 2 point differentials really make a bigger difference. But for now, it's way too early to tell. We're going to have to see how the rest of the group plays out.
This could pan out to be a very important result for the whole group, couldn't it? But we won't know that until probably Wednesday.
Yeah, we shouldn't focus on it too yet. We can start going through scenarios and be like, oh, what if they would have won that game?
Yeah.
We can do that on day 3.
We'll go back
we'll
this
definitely be coming
this
back.
Game right
yes,
here.
we will. We'll definitely be coming back. You said that you theory crafted, or Rao, you theory crafted this a little bit when he was at EG with the whole Meepo mid thing, and he would play it. You said he wasn't ready for this game. What made you say that?
We were just for the time that Aoi and I played together and the time that EG's always been a team, is we've always never really had a Meepo player. And it takes a certain kind of player to play Meepo. We just never really had it, and we were Meepo's so good right now, somebody should learn Meepo. And it was, Arturo was like, I don't want to learn it because it messes my hotkeys up. And Samil would say, oh, it messes up my legacy key, so I'm not going to learn it. And then Ali was like, oh, I can play it. And we were like, oh, but your support, we don't want.
Okay.
But it's just we never really practiced it or committed to the idea of playing it. So maybe NP had done it, but I just.
You're saying it takes a specific type of player to be Meepo player? Is AOI Meepo player?
He could be if they practice it enough. It's like saying is Envy a mid player. Originally, you would say no.
Yeah.
But if he plays it enough, you can get the hang of it. But this is I think they got to play more officials with it, and even more practice against better teams before they start playing it again.
MVP for this particular series game?
I don't know. This game was a difficult one because it came from a lot of different factors, and it was you can call it a draft. I say crit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Overall,
the draft is the MVP.
I feel like it is in a way.
If you had to pick out one player, Peter, who would it be from the second game?
Universe.
Universe.
On the dark there.
Yeah. Why?
Sure. I think he played consistent throughout the entire game, and he had high impact.
Okay, well, there it is. Universe is our match MVP for game number 2. Evil Geniuses do pick up that second game. Does tie them up in the series. They both get a point each in Group B, and we'll figure out how important that will be as the next couple of days pan out. We are going to change things up very shortly, but before we get there, let's. Are we ready for league tables? I don't know if we're ready for league tables or not yet. We do, of course, have a number of different matches going on at the same time. Get matches playing on in Group A and in Group B as well. There we go. So Group A right now with OG leading the way. They have 2 wins out of 2. They've been very dominant, it has to be said, so far today. And also no wins for anyone else.
No wins for anyone else. No, it's just
because there is a
ties.
game going on right now. So that's why.
Well, I'm mostly surprised by Wings. Well, they only have played one series.
Yeah, they've
and
only
they
played one,
were
and
it
was against OG. So
yes,
yeah,
and in a way, sure, but so maybe it's too early to tell. There's still so many games going on, and there will be still so many games played that too early to tell. But OG, I mean, that's 6 points. That's a lot of points.
Massive start for OG. We do have a man who has been roaming around, looking at these Group A matches. He's our intrepid reporter, Sir Action reporter he is today. Sir Action Slacks, can you hear me?
Oh, hello there, Paul.
He can,
Oh.
by the power of radio.
Indeed, indeed.
Sir Action Slacks joins us.
Oh, it's his face.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
a
not
nice
really
one.
his face. It's his face a little bit. His little face.
That's good. How you guys doing over there?
It's okay. We're good, Sir Action Slacks. Yes, we're just pointing out that your face is now on the TV, but it's a little
Yes.
face.
Yeah, that's a stinky little face I got there. That's nice.
Little stinky face. So you're going to give us an update for Group A. So what's been the flavour of the day? Because from the group table, it looks like OG are the OG.
Oh, yeah. You want to know about Group A,
I
huh,
do.
Red Eye?
Yes.
Sheever, Big
Yeah,
Papa
please.
Peter? I'll tell you everything you want to know, baby. Series 1, OG versus Wings, right? Wings starts off their draft picking Shadow Shaman, the only hero that was not picked in Kiev. Seemed like a pretty fun strat. Shadow Shaman OD tries to push the mid lane, try to take the towers quick, and then what happens? OG figures that strategy out and pushes back. So they get destroyed. What are you going to do? Game 2, they start with Shadow Shaman Abaddon again. I don't know why. They got destroyed again. I don't know. There's nothing really to say. But OG was pretty dominant overall. They destroyed them. It was beautiful. And as one man in the chat said, you know, OG executed their gameplay perfectly. Wings, they hardly had a reaction to it. 11 GPM on Anna and 11k damage on Rubik. It was disgusting, Red Eye. Absolutely disgusting. Series
I
one.
don't think it was 11 GPM though, was it?
Just
11,000.
11,000. Nah, I'm not good with numbers. It's 11 something.
Close enough. Close enough.
So anyway, OG was extremely dominant in their Wings game, and we didn't really. Capitalist said that Wings kind of drafted themselves into a corner in both games. And they kind of did. So I hope to see something better from them coming up. Anyway, Series 2, LGD versus VGJ. It was pretty good. Very even stuff. The VGJ went in with a aggressive lifestealer that was very powerful. LGD favored big teamfight heroes like Tide and OD. Didn't work out too great. And in the end, a decisive victory for them. Game 2 was kind of more or less the same. Both teams thought that they could win that late game. VGJ going for Midas's, and LGD, they drafted White Bounty Hunter. Did you know this kid plays Bounty Hunter? Because it was incredible.
Really?
So many track kills, so many great wards, picking off a Tinker, and overall, it was just beautiful. They got it in the end. LGD, boy. Woo, 1-1.
Nice.
And as Bonner said in chat, stuff went down in China. And that's that was the best quote from Twitch chat for the entire series. So, yeah, they did their best. Anyway, we're talking about how OG is the only people with 2 wins. Series 3, baby. OG and Faceless. OG had to go up against Faceless's top heroes. We're talking in Ice Timber. We're talking about Black Anti-Mage, the best of the best.
Wow.
And it looks so good. But OG last picked a Bloodseeker, Sheever. You said that there wasn't going to be one, right?
Yeah, my bad.
Not bad indeed. So
Wasn't that a Visage? I thought it was a Visage.
yeah, wow, yeah.
Wasn't
They
that the second game?
I thought Bloodseeker was the second game.
They
They
had
did,
both.
they did. In the first series,
confused.
OG ran a Visage Fly,
Oh, yeah.
and then they returned that in Series 3. Fly made so much money, he couldn't stand to go back as a poor position 5. Anyway, so Rupture was the name of the game for the early one, but they got destroyed. It was, what was my note say right here? 14-3 at 12 minutes in favor of Faceless. Faceless absolutely dominating. But did you know, PPD, trivia for you, you rupture somebody, and you can use Disruptor to glimpse them back, and they take the damage?
Yeah, man, you asked me this during the break. I already told you.
I know, but you didn't convince me that you actually knew. So now you know, and that's how they won. OG came back with a decisive comeback. It was absolutely disgusting, and they won that one as well.
Okay,
Last
so,
one.
So
Oh.
OG are now 3-0
3-0.
and
Here we go.
6-0 overall.
Yeah, they're pretty dominant.
Okay.
All right, I'll give you the last game. Check this one out. OG starts off the draft with Visage Drow. They've got all early game. They're going ham. Faceless. They got the last pick. They last pick Spectre into a Visage Drow push lineup. I have no idea why anyone would do that, but that, they held on for 40 minutes, gang. They managed to survive for that long, but they had Lena on the side of OG. Now, let me tell you about Lena. This hero was broken as hell. Minus 30 respawn, plus 50 damage. She was sniping racks and towers at the tier 3. It was disgusting. Anyway, so Lena managed to do it. OG wrapped up the whole day. Absolutely dominant against everybody, and that is it. Oh, wait. As Lorvren said in the chat, when your position 5 is larger than 3 enemy heroes, you're going to have a good time. So EG did have a good time.
Good. Thank you very much, Sir Action Slags. And expert analysis from Twitch chat.
Yeah, they were better than me, which isn't hard. But hey, good job, guys.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. So that's Group A. So it's gone even further than we saw on the graphics there. And OG now 9 points.
No, that was he
I thought that was 3 matches they played.
No, he just talked about the separate games
okay.
of the series.
Okay, so I got carried away. I was like,
Yes.
wait, hold on a minute.
No.
Where did they play 3? I'm pretty sure I saw 2 of their games. Okay, so it was just a 2. So
It was just
6
a 2.
points for OG.
But
so
it sounded
far.
like all the games that OG won were fairly
fairly
convincing for OG. So that's a scary thing to look at for sure.
Yeah.
So OG looking good to make it to the top 2 so far, but this is only day 1.
All right. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, though, we do have another match for you. This time we're going to switch focus and focus on Group A. We'll see you in a bit.